Hi everyone, I'm glad to present this work of joint interpretation of representations in neural networks and the brain done by Aria, Raghu, Mike, and Lela. Recent successes in using representations from deep neural networks to predict brain responses promise to advance our understanding of hierarchical information processing in the primate brain. A good example is a work by Dan Yemens and James DiCarlo in using representations from a neural network trained for object recognition to predict neural responses in a monkey's brain. Given the similarity in the task and goals of both artificial and biological systems, it's not surprising that high-performing systems in both domains share representations despite drastically different physical implementations. Here we take a deeper look into how various network choice in terms of layers and tasks the network is trained on could affect how well these representations can predict the brain. We also explore how the converse is also possible, that what we already know about the brain can help us to better understand computations and representations in artificial neural networks. We present our results on data from the natural scene datasets collected by Kendrick K's team from the University of Minnesota. It consists of 70 fMRI, 8 participants viewing 10,000 natural scenes from COCO dataset. We build stacked voxelwise encoding models to relate image features to the brain and compare prediction performance and stacking weights. The results of stacking weights indicate how features are best combined to predict a specific voxel response. Generally, the fewer errors a features make in its respective encoding model, the higher its corresponding encoding stack weights, that is, the importance of the feature for prediction. Here are results from representations. Here are results from representations for AlexNet that are trained for both object recognition and place recognition. Every line corresponds to each of the best 200 encoded voxels. Each column corresponds to a visual ROI. The first and second rows are correlation results from the encoding model. The third and fourth rows are the stacking weights. For V1 to V4, we observe a shift of the preferred layer from conv3 to conv4 as we change the task from object recognition to place recognition. However, task differences observed in AlexNet do not replicate when we change the network architecture to ResNet50. Here we obtain these results with the same choice of task and dataset. Preferred layers by the brain and stacking weights are consistent between the two tasks, indicating that the additional depths of networks might lessen the influence of the task in terms of brain prediction. These deeper networks might represent more information about the input that is not subject to tasks. One thing to note is that for phase and place area prediction, layer 4 in ResNet is assigned a large stacking weight. Unlike what we have seen in AlexNet, where the last layer has a large weight, this indicates that network expressiveness might be the key for group brain prediction instead of semantic structure in the representations. When we change our task from visual recognition to edge detection, the commonly observed pattern that early layers in networks predict early visual layers in the brain better, while later layers in a network predict higher visual areas better does not hold anymore. For both 2D and 3D edge detection networks, early layers predict consistently better across our eyes. What's surprising here is how early layers of edge detection networks yield higher prediction performance than the later layers, even in predicting place and phase areas in the brain. For the neuroscience literature, we know fairly well about the consistent responses of place and phase images in PPA and FFA. With some knowledge from neuroscience, this seems to indicate that intermediate layers of a network could represent more information than what is needed in the task. We observe that in predicting brain response using representations from a relatively simple neural network, for example, AlexNet, varying the training task leads to differences in which network layers best predict the brain. Of note, this effect is network dependent and disappears when the same comparison is made with a much larger network, for example, ResNet50. As previously shown in multitask learning, network capacity and expressive power influence learned task relevant representations and affect how different tasks may be learned together. Thus, our first takeaway is that the network structure should be considered when mapping from network representations to the brain. The second takeaway is that, as exemplified by our results from the edge detection networks, one can leverage our extensive understanding of the computations realized in different brain areas to gain a more holistic understanding of learned representations in neural networks, a step beyond visualizing randomly or handpicked units. Overall, the methods presented here enable a more comprehensive approach to using neural networks representations to model brain function, allowing us to better understand how choice as to network architecture and tasks affect predictions for biological systems, and conversely, to further interpret the learned representations realized in artificial systems.